Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's go over our trade plan for today. If you read the trade plan last night, I'm pretty sure it is identical, but let me double check here. Okay, so last night we said holding above 312, we're looking for 32 and 42, which is basically the incomplete auction zone. That is the incomplete auction way back from Thursday the 3rd. Holding below 287, we're looking for 260 and 246. 260 is the prior low, 246 is another prior low. So that would be Wednesday and Monday. So no change on our trade plan. If you guys read the plan from last night, we are still hovering towards that weekly open. Weekly open is 07. Is it the same for NASDAQ? Let's take a look. So it is the same for NQ, but it's already starting to play out the bullish side. So keep an eye on that bullish level. The bullish level is 50, 47 to be exact. Looking for 112 and 160 for that for the targets. To the downside, holding below 931, we're going to look for 840, which is basically this prior low right here. And then 780, which is that incomplete auction to the downside. Now, because we started pushing our upper trade plan, you can say holding below 47, you can look for 931. You could also look for the weekly open or today's value low as well, just any major levels. But yeah, the bullish trade plan is starting to play out already. And this would be either like an elongated D shape or a capital B, a double distribution. Because you have two major nodes, kind of like three major nodes. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tachi, Fernando, Jose, Techie, SK, Robert, Larry, Max, Tamer, Future, Nitro. Good morning, Trent, Gregor's, Trevor, Roman, Eugenio, Ordinary, Zine, C-Mac. Appreciate you guys all being here. Good morning, good morning. Looks like a little bit of a bulldog into the open here. Keep an eye on that top doji. If it does push up. Let's take a look at our recent 30-minute candles. Okay, recent 30-minute candles, we had a very bottom-heavy candle getting rejected. So those sellers down there are a little bit trapped, putting in an equal low and then bouncing away from them. So keep an eye on that prior high around 07. Same thing up here, a little bit of a top-heavy candle getting rejected. So you had some trapped buyers around 10 to 11, trapped sellers around 300 to 302. Overall trend is still pretty bullish. Most of the lows are being protected. We just had a small pullback, and now we're trying to correct that by breaking the prior 30-minute highs. Most of the price action on the overnight was protecting the lows. Pretty close to yesterday's high. Yesterday's high is 314, so keep an eye on that. Pretty much the same as the overnight high. Not quite getting to that session VWAP. You're kind of bulldogging, double bottoming right before that VWAP. So a little bit of a bullish bias there. Hasn't really pulled back and given you a proper bulldog head yet. So look out for a potential pullback on the open. We had unemployment claims this morning, 227,000 over 236. No, I haven't done the 20K giveaway. I'm going to put that in the same giveaway as the raffle. So if you guys entered in the 20K giveaway stuff, I'm just going to use your guys's... It's basically like a raffle ticket, pretty much. Like, you guys are going to be added to the raffle. So I'm just going to do them all at the same time. And that's going to be this weekend. So if you guys entered in the raffle, or if you entered in the 20K sub giveaway, you guys will be... I was just thinking, how am I going to let you guys know that you won? So if you guys won the raffle, I'm just going to let you know how I always do on the email. But obviously, if you guys entered in the 20K, you didn't send me an email. So if you guys won on the 20K, I'll just post in the comments. I'll respond to your comment, and I'll let you know, hey, you won. Here's what you got to do. Good morning, DS, eBay, M, James, Yee, Darius, AT. Good morning, Crypto 2013. So not really giving you the head of the bulldog here, just kind of breaking out. It's kind of a vertical distribution bulldog where it just continues to the upside. Yeah, I'm really behind on a lot of stuff. I'm behind on the raffle, behind on the 20K giveaway. I've been putting like all my free hours into the chat bot, the Athena bot. I actually have another big update as soon as stream is over, and I can update it. I have a big update from what I was doing last night and this morning. I keep changing the recommended model because I keep testing different models to see how it performs. And I changed the recommended model to 03. We'll talk about it here in a second. Let's pay attention to the open. So that bulldog is breaking out here, just not really giving you a proper head. Keep an eye on that prior high around like 11 to 12. Yesterday's high coming up pretty soon at around, let me see here, 15. A lot of bullish delta coming in out of the gate so far. It's the same raffle we always do every month. So every month we have a raffle for people who use the Apex code, or people who sign up with Addis using our code, or using our link, I should say. So as long as you guys send me your receipts by Friday, anything for June, don't send July. Anything for June, if you guys used our Apex code, code BREW, or the old code, or if you signed up for Addis using our link. Just send the receipts, put raffle in the subject line. Make sure I can see the invoice number, the size of the account, and the date. And here's my email. Yeah, we do raffles every single month. I'm just very behind on June. I was going to pull it around the holiday, and then the holiday messed me up. All right, 30-minute sweep on the high here. Not quite making it to that point of origin, failing a little bit early. Yeah, if you guys are new to the raffle, basically what happens is if you buy a 50K account, it's 1 ticket. 100K is 2 tickets. So every 50K is a ticket. So like a 250K would be 5 tickets, obviously. I just put all the tickets into a random generator, pull a couple of winners. Winners get cash prizes or Discord prizes. Big sell-off on NASDAQ here. Keep an eye on VWAP coming up really fast at 34. I don't know if I'd really call this the head of the bulldog. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. Basically the same theory. The pullback, you want it to stay above pretty much where it is. Like 03, I'd say. 03 is the lowest. I'd let that go. It's kind of already too low on NASDAQ. I wouldn't really call it a bulldog on NASDAQ. On ES, if it stays above 03, it doesn't look terrible, but that pullback on NASDAQ is pretty nasty. That was a top pivot on the 1 minute, top pivot at 08. Turning into a 30-minute sweep with a very slight absorption on the buy side. Here's VWAP on NQ. Good morning, Unleashed, Joan, Clive. Morning, Mark. Breaking VWAP pretty easily so far. Let's see if it's just going to wick the VWAP. The large tape is pretty slow today. Not seeing a ton of large buyers or sellers, just large traders in general. This is probably the lowest I would accept that this was a bulldog, but I don't really think it is. Because the head should have happened before the breakout, not after the breakout. And that's a nasty sell-off on NASDAQ. $30-minute high sweep, followed with a pivot on the 1 minute. Hitting a 15-minute pivot as well, and a 30-minute pivot, pretty much to the tick. That was a long 30-minute pivot from yesterday. Topped out yesterday and today. Also a long pivot on the 15-minute. Same pivot that was on the 30-minute. Put in another pivot, so there's like 2 pivots there. Failing that one as well. And then 1 minute on the high as well. So a lot of pivots around like 08 to 10. think I've already said the word pivot like 50 times today. Good morning, Tom. A little bit of absorption on the low here. A lot of bearish delta coming in, not really going anywhere. We're kind of in a giant do not care zone. You're paying attention towards the extremes. You just barely didn't get that point of origin doji sold a little bit early. Yeah, going back to what I was saying about the Athena bond, the models. I keep changing the models because I keep testing them throughout the day and seeing like which one's giving better answers, which one's taking a reasonable amount of time. The O3 model that I changed to last time is still a very good model. It's just very slow. So like if you want it to be like absolutely correct and it takes its time, use the O3 model. But the O4 mini high model gives you almost the same answers and it's way faster. So it's probably slightly worse answer-wise, but the speed is way better. But yeah, I'll be pushing another big update after this stream once I have time to mess with it. Good morning, Christopher Scott, Blood OD. Sitting on VWAP here on NASDAQ. Pretty flat open, to be honest. Not seeing an extremely wide initial balance so far. Or opening range, I should say. Still seeing that absorption. This is a multi-candle absorption as well. You're seeing the same thing on the prior candle and the candle before that as well. Mostly this candle here. It's not entirely delta absorption. It's mostly like volume absorption. But you're basically pushing down into that like 300 level. 300 to like 303. And it just keeps building up this volume, but it's not able to push any lower value. So becoming pretty bottom heavy. If it hangs out here for much longer, it probably will push down. But right now, it is definitely being absorbed. It's kind of a bear flag into VWAP on NASDAQ, but you didn't really lose VWAP before pulling back into it. You're kind of just using it as support. So not exactly a bear flag. We don't have any major data after the bell today. until like 1 o'clock. We've got a 30-year bond auction. Here's VWAP on ES now at 301. Well, this is a 30-year auction. Yesterday was the 10-year. Good morning, Keegan Morgus. Appreciate you guys being here. Bouncing off VWAP to the exact tick so far. That is also that prior low point of origin. It's also where the absorption is, so a lot of support down here. They really need to hold that support. If they don't, they're going to go into a pretty large, rotation back down. Morning, Ryder. Good morning, Lulu. Still acting as a magnet on that weekly open. A little bit far away on NASDAQ, but pretty damn close on ES. 308 on ES, 970 on NQ. Ten-year yield up about 0.5%. Dollars up about 1/4. I was seeing headlines that the dollar was doing terrible. Not doing that bad the last week or so. Overall, it's doing pretty bad. But last week or so, not too bad. Euro's down a little bit. Oil's down about 2%. Yeah, big drop in oil. Bitcoin down about 0.5%. Let's take a look. Not too bad. It hit all-time high yesterday, just barely. And then gold is pretty flat. Ryan, I don't have any fancy settings on my volume profile. They're pretty much all default. I think the only setting that you really can change is the value area percentage. You can either make it 68 or 70. I use 70. That's kind of a that's a debate in the volume profile community, whether to use 68 or 70. 68 is more of the proper statistical standard deviation level. I prefer to use 70. I think when I very first started using volume profile, I just used 70, so I just stuck to it. Still seeing absorption down here, 300 to 302. Not so much on NASDAQ. NASDAQ's actually holding down. Yeah, all the brick stuff, all the sorry, 1 second. All right, sorry, I was taking care of something. What was I saying? Yeah, bricks, tariffs, all that stuff. Kind of hurting the dollar. Definitely not seeing the absorption here on NASDAQ. NASDAQ breaking downward pretty easily here. So keep an eye on this bottom heavy node on the overnight. They're trying to break through that 300. Rotating today, possibly rotating yesterday. NASDAQ already finished today's rotation. Yesterday's rotation would go down to 930, possibly tagging the weekly open here at 970. Yeah, the extra 2% margin, exactly. Yeah, I forgot the reasoning behind 70. I forgot, like, the main argument. But it's just what I've always used. Might just be a rounded thing. I have a ton of volume profile videos on my channel you can learn from, and if you like reading books, look up James Dalton. Pretty much any of Dalton's books will help you. Mind Over Markets is my favorite one that he has. But yeah, I've got numerous volume profile videos on YouTube. That's what I'm known for. I think I have, like, in the top 10, one of the most watched volume profile videos on YouTube. It's where like a quarter of my subscribers come from is one video. Still being absorbed, still bouncing off that point of origin. The buyers on ES just do not care that the sellers on NASDAQ are pushing down. Dalton is TPO. Yeah, you're not wrong. He does teach market profile. The concepts are nearly identical. Pretty much every single concept he teaches in Mind Over Markets, even though the entire book is talking about market profile, you can use those in volume profile. Pretty much exactly the same. The only main difference on market profile is it breaks it up into time blocks, into TPOs. But as far as value shifts and liquidations and bias and shapes and, I mean, you name it, like literally everything else is, you can use it in both markets. For the most part, you should be reading a market profile chart the exact same way you read a volume profile, with the exception of single prints and poor highs, poor lows, that sort of thing. So this is one of those nodes that's trying to become a POC where it's like 50-50 and you battle back and forth. This is not a 50-50 node. You can see there is much more bearish delta below that node than there is bullish delta above the node. So this is a node that is more like 60-40. The sellers are definitely in control. And there you go. It's starting to break that node to the downside now. Yeah, Luis, I think most people should find something they like and stick to it. I don't think switching back and forth, trading gold and then Bitcoin and then oil and then going back to ES and then trading NASDAQ, it's not going to help you. You should find one thing, learn how it moves, and stick to it. I think one of the reasons that would help somebody who wants to trade like many different assets is if they're like a one setup kind of trader. Like they only trade bull flags, they only trade bear flags. If they master one pattern, then you can trade other assets because you're literally only looking for, one pattern. It's kind of like penny stock trading, right? Penny stock traders, they trade bull flags. That's pretty much all they trade. So they can look at 100 different penny stocks because they're only looking for one pattern. So if you're somebody who wants to stick to like one single pattern, then yes, you can look around. Here is that weekly open coming up. Weekly open on NQ. It's kind of funny recently. We've been seeing the weekly open strategy do very well on the FOMC minutes instead of the normal FOMC. It's usually the other way around. I think it was so good this week because the calendar is extremely lackluster. There is basically nothing happening this week. When you have these weeks that don't have incredibly strong catalyst, That weekly open is a fantastic magnet. Extremely weak sell pressure on the low here. Look at this break. We finally broke this absorption, and look at what they did. There's like absolutely nobody trading right there. So that's not a very good break for the sellers. They don't really want to see that. They're holding the rebound, so as long as they protect the rebound, I'd say like anything below 303, they're still pretty bearish here. Probably go for another attempt. But that first attempt was terrible. Look at the trend difference on ES and NASDAQ. The trend is beautiful on NASDAQ, holding below the ADMA the entire time. Extremely clean. ES is being kind of like propped up. Somebody's trying to prop it up. That's a beautiful trend on NASDAQ. Let's take a look at that chart. So obviously you have your high point of origin there. You've already taken out every low point of origin, so you're looking at prior day's value at this point. Is that why? Is Dow Jones doing really well? Yeah, that's probably it. Dow Jones and Russell doing pretty good. So when Dow Jones pushes like that, it helps ES a lot more than it helps NQ. Dow and NQ are not related basically at all. Is it a value shift? Might be a value shift. Yeah, it is. There's a value shift happening today. So look at what's selling, and then look at what's going up. So typically this side of the heat map is all growth, like heavy growth companies like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, obviously the big boys, the AI stuff. This side of the heat map is like value stuff. Blue chips, dividend companies, slow movers, stuff that you put in like retirement accounts, you know, stuff like that. Kind of like retail down here as well. So it's not a full value shift because retail's doing pretty bad. But you can see a lot of these companies are doing pretty good. So a bit of a value shift. There's the rotation on NASDAQ pretty much being completed down to 930. So that would have finished your interior trade plan from 050 to 930. You're about halfway done on ES. It would need to go down to 287. Still a weak break. This break is not doing as not getting as much delta as you would think. Well, I mean value as in like it's literally going to value companies. It's growth companies and value companies. So you're shifting from growth to value. It's like a sector rotation. We've seen a couple of these micro sector rotations the last few weeks because of the quarterly, the quarter ending. So typically around the end of the quarter, start of the quarter, you see a lot of those sector rotations, rebalances, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it's just a built-in heat map on TradingView. Looks like ES is starting to go into the trend that NASDAQ is in. NASDAQ finishing that rotation right now. That was a rebound back into 300, failing. A very clean trend on NQ. NQ finishing that rotation. So the value area low of yesterday has been taken out. Lower tail is extremely weak, so if it does want to continue, you could go down to around 840. If it bounces back, keep an eye on that weekly open at 970. Very strong look above and fail where we kind of went up and we tried to break the overnight high. We tried to break into higher value, swept it, and just instantly nuked. Yeah, Sam, I don't change my settings. It's the same as always. You want to Sam, Chuck, Big Pun? Turning into a little bit of a sweep down here, sweeping that 97 level. Keep an eye on that ADMA, still holding below on NASDAQ. Very strong move down. We don't have a single candle since the open trading above that ADMA. Christopher's wondering if anybody's having problems with Top Step X. He's having some issues loading. I don't trade on Top Step, so I'm not sure. Okay, sounds like it's an issue on their end. Yeah, you guys are all saying you have issues. Garbage platform. Hey, they're forcing you to use that garbage platform now. It's scandalous. Look at that trend on NASDAQ. You only need one line, the ADMA, just pushing you down the entire time. Not as clean on ES, but it's starting to get there. This lower tail is pretty weak. You're going back into, what day was that? Tuesday. Back into Tuesday's value. Looking for around 843. Yeah, I saw some videos talking about it 2013, about the Wieland lawsuit, but I don't really know too much about it. I don't really keep up with YouTube drama. I did see one of the clauses they called him out. It was actually pretty hardcore. They brought that up in the lawsuit, but they brought up the fact that he's failed like 500 or something evaluation accounts while claiming that he was pulling out real money from Top Step. That was kind of crazy. You may dump Top Step if they fall through with that. Isn't it like a... It's not a rumor, isn't it like guaranteed? Isn't it like confirmed that they're not allowing you to sign up for new accounts unless it's for the their built-in platform? Or was that just a rumor? As of the 7th? Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. Sounds like a fantastic time to come over to Apex. Knock on wood. I'm gonna probably say that, and then it's gonna the data's gonna crash. Keeping on the ADMA here. ADMA finally being broken. That is the first break of the ADMA on NASDAQ the entire day. This is a Momo pivot with a bull div. No purple shading, but there is a pivot and a very obvious, very obvious bull div. That's on the 5-minute, by the way. 1 minute does have a purple shading. 3-minute has a pivot. Yeah, so confirming on multiple time frames, there's a pretty strong bottom here. No, Keith, I have not had any issues. If you ever get denied, they explain to you why you're being denied. It's not just they're not just going to deny you for no reason. If they deny you, it's because you're very obviously breaking their rules. My trading is extremely passive. I'm not doing anything that breaks their aggressive rules like windfalling or trading massive size and changing my size all the time. Trading news trades that go crazy. I'm a very passive, boring trader. So I don't actively break their rules. People that have issues with Apex are typically gambling. They're using Apex as a place to trade very aggressively. And that goes for all funding programs, not just Apex. Most people who complain about rules are trading them improperly. It's like I always talk about, the people that complain about the rules are the ones that the rules are built for. They're the ones that they need to be trading on funding programs, because if they were trading with their own account, they'd be getting destroyed. Good morning, Tiny. Pivots aren't market inefficiencies. They're just points that volume and price are pivoting, right? The definition of pivot. They are shifting momentum. Is Dow Jones still going up? That might be why we're still chopping out a bit on ES. Yeah, Dow Jones is still straight up. Look at Dow Jones here. Just ripping. Dow isn't all-time high yet, so it still has room to climb. That's our second 30-minute sweep today. We had a 30-minute sweep on the high. Now we have a 30-minute sweep on the low. A sweep in both directions typically implies that it's a D shape, and you're just rotating back and forth. You've failed higher value, you've failed lower value. Not exactly a bulldog there, but pretty much the same concept. Support into a small pullback, little rebound there. Rebound being bought into. Keep it on the 24 EMA here on NASDAQ. That is the first retest of that responsive average on this entire sell-off. Delta flipping very quickly. Already recovering the entire Delta sell-off of that last 30-minute candle. You can see this is what the 1 minute looked like during that sweep. So these candles here are the 30-minute candles, the external candle. And then internally, you can see the 1 minute. So you can see exactly how that sweep played out there. So started to sweep on this low right here, pushed up, rebounded downward, swept again. So it had like a 2-point sweep there. 2 points as in like 2 clusters, not handles. I trade mostly futures right now. I do every now and then trade in my options and stocks account. But actively, like every day, it's mainly just futures. Yeah, Roman, I wasn't calling that a bear flag in a VWAP because they instantly broke VWAP and they used it as support. So it was too strong of a move to be a bear flag in a VWAP. Now on NASDAQ, you could look for a bear flag into VWAP because it's very slowly pushing back into VWAP. This move here was way too aggressive. So this one swept the low, bounced immediately, broke VWAP immediately, and then you pulled back into it as support. So I would not have seen that as a bear flag in the VWAP. I don't think I called that out as a bear flag. But yeah, too strong. Way too strong. Look at the delta here. The delta's exploding. So an update on all those charts we talked about. 1 minute bottom shading. That's where that sweep was. We had a 3-minute pivot. That's on the low. 5-minute pivot. That's on the low. That's where the bull div was. So we talked about that bullish divergence earlier. 15-minute we didn't look at. Showing a sweep. 30-minute holding the trail. Yep. So everything's acting as support. Here's that 1-minute pivot as well. But yeah, just a little update on the charts that we showed earlier. The cleanest time frame there was probably the 5-minute with the bull div and the pivot combo. And then after that, you're looking at the sweep, the 30-minute sweep. Mostly when I trade options right now, I'm selling premium. So I'm selling premium covered. I don't buy naked contracts that much anymore. It's usually just spread trading or premium trading, which is like the more advanced side of options. I don't recommend it for beginners. It's very dangerous for beginners. All right, so we've used up this level, so now we need to watch where that sweep came in, and now we're putting in a little top doji on the high here as well. Definitely showing a D-shaped profile. They have very strong movement until they get to the extremes. When they get to the higher value, they fail. Get to lower value, fail. But in between, the rotations are very strong. Unfortunately, you didn't really get your bear flag on NASDAQ. Into VWAP, it stalled a little bit early. Putting in a poor high, by the way. Let's see if the Athena bot can pick that up with the new code that I gave it. The biggest problem it has with my market profile chart is it's way too small. So the resolution is a lot harder for it to read. So it like combines the blocks together. I also want to check if it caught that bull div. Yeah, it still really struggles with this chart. I think it's just too bad of a resolution. It's too small of a chart. Yeah, it does perfectly fine on the trading view charts that are bigger charts, better resolution. It found that divergence perfectly. Yeah, unfortunately, Adam, when you full screen a profile like this, it doesn't make it that much bigger. It doesn't like scale it up very much. Good morning, Angelo. Okay, yeah, it did find the poor high, so I just had to make it a little bit bigger. So it found the poor high and it found the bull div, so doing pretty good. Can you make custom Groks the same way you can make custom chat GPTs? I didn't look into Grok. I saw that you could make a custom one on chat and I just started doing it, to be honest. The way that I'm coding it is I'm coding it in a in like a large memory database file. So if I wanted to move it to another, oh, I think I'm lagging. My internet's being a little choppy, guys. If I disappear, it's probably because my internet dropped. It's storming here for like 10 days straight, so my internet's not doing too great. If you guys can hear me, I think I'm good now. My internet's just kind of going in and out, so that might disappear. Internet is adapting to the markets, yeah. I've heard a lot of people are having internet issues right now. Like, it's like a widespread problem. A lot of my friends are having the same problems. And they're on like different carriers too, like Comcast, Verizon. Are you guys in the US? Are you guys having a lot of internet issues as well, or is it just copium? I feel like it definitely didn't help when I upgraded my internet, unfortunately. Upgraded my internet, got a new router, and it made it worse. The internet is technically better when it works. It's the full moon, yeah. I'm in the data center capital of the world and I can't get good internet. Imagine. They're sucking up all the energy. I don't think Starlink has the speeds that compete against like Comcast and Verizon. Like, is Starlink at the level where it's getting like 1 gigabit or 2 gigabits? Possible bulldog on NASDAQ. You only have half the pattern right now. Spain is fiber. Yeah, we don't have fiber out here, unfortunately. But yeah, it's pretty bad yesterday. My internet dropped. Um, it almost surged. Thankfully, I had a surge protector because there was lightning. And I could actively see the lightning like surging my power. But yeah, thankfully my surge protector didn't fry my PC. Nowadays, PCs are better. A lot of the parts have like surge protection over voltage protection, but they can only handle so much. Okay, you're starting to form that second half of the bulldog here. So you have the double bottom half. The second half would be that bull flag. Now, this is one of those bulldogs that's a little bit dangerous because it's right below VWAP. When's the bond auction? It's at 1 p.m. Almost every major bond auction is around 1 p.m. They have some smaller ones that happen like earlier in the day, but typically they're 1 or 2 p.m. Yeah, I'm not sure how much that's affecting us out here, Chris, because like I said, we're the data center capital of the world, so we typically have pretty good speeds, but recently this has been a little choppy. It's been storming a lot recently though, which is the main problem. My weather app is literally storming and raining for the next 10 days. Oh, it actually got better. Now a couple days are sunny. It actually cleared up a lot, actually. There's only a couple days now. It shouldn't be choppy anymore. I'm pretty stable now. It only had one little drop earlier. All right, here's that original top doji here. If it wants to maintain in balance, they should be selling this, which they currently are. If they pop through this 07 level, it's going to try to repair that poor high. And that goes up to 12. Yeah, Trent, Ashburn's nice, man. Ashburn, Fairfax, Loudoun. I mean, they're some of the richest counties in the country, so you'd expect them to be nice. Ashburn and Loudoun in that area. Very nice. A little bit north of Dulles. Another one of those bulldogs that's not giving you a clearly defined pullback, is just kind of chopping. So that could be the head of the bulldog, and it's pushing into the breakout, which is VWAP. Here's that poor high coming up. It needs a couple more points here. Yeah, Zach, those are the storms that took my power out. There were some pretty bad storms yesterday. And you were driving through the southern side, which I believe gets a lot more flooding. Well, I think OVO, I think they literally just won the award for like the best place to raise a family in the United States. And that's if you have money. It's like the third richest county in the nation. Unfortunately, the secret's kind of out on Northern Virginia. We've been exploding recently because of the data center stuff. The data centers are bringing like hundreds of thousands of jobs in this area. Everyone's moving all their headquarters here. So unfortunately, the secret is out. Yeah, the traffic is some of the worst in the country. It's really bad. Yeah, good luck, Filbert. Homes don't really go down here. I think it was one of like the safest places during the '08 crash. Housing prices like barely went down. I mean, they still went down. Everything went down, but comparatively. It's just so close to the capital. You have all the data jobs, you have all the criminal justice jobs, IT, you have the FBI, CIA, I mean, you name it, every single headquarters. There's the poor high being repaired. There's the point of origin doji from the overnight high. Oh yeah, OVO for sure. Yeah, Zach, you start approaching like the Blue Ridge Mountains and stuff. Here's VWAP coming up on NASDAQ. So there's the Bulldog. Bulldog target is hit. Like I said, not a clean Bulldog. It did not give you the pullback. It just gave you that little bit of a cluster as kind of the head right there. Exploding right here. Definitely some stops being triggered. A lot of stops above that poor high. Delta exploding from 10 to 14. Yeah, that's the Maryland side though, James. We have like a rivalry. Maryland hates us, we hate them. Big node at 14 already. Putting in a major node at the high of day that quickly is kind of crazy. Yeah, the wires are a really good show. Keep an eye on VWAP at 995 if it does continue on NASDAQ. This is repairing that poor high back into the weekly open. There's the weekly open to the tick on NASDAQ. Very different charts. ES now going for a break of yesterday's value, possibly into the incomplete auction. How's Dow Jones doing? Dow Jones exploding here. You might finally start seeing some sell pressure on Dow Jones coming up around 45,000. So it might pull ES back a little bit. This all started from that 5-minute bull div. That bull div is still in play here. So you had that bullish divergence with that pivot. You back tested it with that little candle right there and then exploded. Yeah, it's just bad areas and good areas. Like right outside of Baltimore, you have some of the richest counties in the country as well. If you look at the top 10 richest counties in the country, like 8 of them are around the capital. And Northern Virginia has like 6 or 7 of them, and then Maryland has like the other ones. You have a couple of counties that are outside of this area, but pretty much all of them are in this area. All the old money. Oh yeah, pun. There's like there's a running rivalry between Maryland drivers and Virginia drivers. So yeah, your Maryland plates aren't going to go to over too well here. What's Virginia's thing? It's everything, man. That's why it's a beautiful state. I mean, you name it, we have it. Beaches, mountains, lakes, state forests. It's not like an extremely flat state. It's not a boring state. It's a tech giant. I mean, it's literally the tech capital of the world. You have criminal justice jobs, you've got IT jobs, anything to do with politics, obviously, because you're right outside of DC. That's a beautiful state, man. I love Virginia. Yeah, Pennsylvania potholes. Starting to roll off a VWAP here. Moonshine, yeah, that's what we were known for back in the day. There's a really good movie with Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy. What's that one called? It's Ah, I forgot the name of it. It's a good one, though. You guys will know what I'm talking about. Outlaws, yeah, yeah. I think Outlaws is right. Or no, Lawless. Lawless is right. Lawless, yep. That's a really good movie. I can't remember if it's about Virginia or West Virginia. I think it's Virginia. Keep it on. VWAPs here. You're still continuing that Bulldog trade. It's holding on to the 24 EMA. Session VWAP at 995. Next target on ES is more of a zone. So if you guys are following the trade plan, this entire area is a just the value area of Thursday, last Thursday, the 3rd. You have a POC around 24, so that's like the main level. But anywhere from 15 to like 33 is filling in that value area. And then on NASDAQ, you're just going back into rotation. So you're trying to go back to like 23,050. That's like the big picture. Yeah, it's funny. Northern Virginia is obviously not a state, but it's just like very different from Southern Virginia, which is why people call it Northern Virginia instead of just saying Virginia. It's kind of similar to California. Like, you guys do the same thing in California, don't you? It's like NorCal, SoCal. But then you have West Virginia, which is actually a state. Keep an eye on this upper node. Oh, my internet dropped. It was stalling on that level for so long. If it stays below this upper node, if you start losing like 12, that would also become a sweep if it loses 10. So you do not want to lose that upper node. Yeah, Southern Virginia is more like country. Northern Virginia is more like city. Virginia has like 3 distinct places. You have Northern Virginia is more data capital, city. Southern, kind of more country. And then Virginia Beach. You have like the naval base and stuff. A lot of bullish delta coming in above 15 here. Keep an eye on that VWAP coming up at 994. ADMAs are holding pretty strong here. Keep an eye on this close. This close is happening in about 8 minutes, and it will create single prints going down to 11 unless you repair that candle. So normally, with like a proper bulldog, you see how the 24 EMA kind of trails the way down, and then it kind of flattens out, and then it kind of flattens around that back, right? So the back of the bulldog, usually around the back, or sorry, around the 24 EMA. And then what you want the head to do is you typically want it to pop above that 24 EMA and then pull back into it. So then you can use that 24 EMA pullback as your bulldog head entry. With this bulldog, you didn't really have that pop and then pullback. You just kind of like built a cluster on that 24 EMA instead. So you see how right here it kind of failed VWAP and then pulled back into that 24? That's kind of what you wanted to see on the head back here. But you just didn't do that, unfortunately. So that was almost like a secondary entry if you missed the cluster down here. But yeah, typically you want it to kind of push away from it and then pull back into it. Warren, I recommend watching my order flow playlist. There's way too many concepts for me to just give you a few sentences and explain it to you. It's a lot of information. But I have a whole playlist that goes over how to read order flow. But long story short, you're mainly just seeing the buy and sell pressure coming in. You're keeping an eye on which side has more of a bias, which side is more powerful. Are those traders being trapped or are they being respected? That sort of thing. Yeah, the concept's way too deep to be easily explained. Yeah, isn't Florida kind of like the coast, like the East Coast and the West Coast of Florida are very different? I've been to Florida a lot, but I don't live there, so I couldn't give you a good feel. Yeah, James, you have to change your TPO size to 2 points if you want it to match mine. Every single letter on my chart on that market profile is 2 points wide. I like my profile more consolidated. Yeah, Warren, that goes for a lot of concepts on my stream. I'm not trying to like just cut you guys off and not answer your question. It's just, you guys just have to understand that I've been doing this for like over 10 years, right? So I can't give you guys like a 1 sentence answer on some things. It's pretty complex. The moving averages on my chart, the teal one is the 80 MA, the 24 is the orange line. The solid green and red is the daily VWAP that starts at 9:30. The dotted green and red is the session VWAP that starts at 6 p.m. Eastern the prior day. I don't talk about my trades too much on stream, Warren. I need to add like chat rules. I saw that YouTube lets you add like chat rules. I need to add that to the chat rules for the new people. Basically just say don't be an asshole, don't talk about politics, don't ask me about my trades. Those are kind of my 3 only rules here, really. I guess the 4th rule would be like don't be a person who's just bragging about your trades. That kind of goes with don't be an asshole. They're trying to repair this candle. Look at the pullback, look at the time. You have 3 minutes left on this candle. They're pulling back to that last C candle, the C print, if they go down to 10, possibly 12, there will not be any single prints. You need a chatbot assistant? Well, I'm currently making one. It's just not out yet. But believe me, Fuel, that's not gonna that's not gonna help, unfortunately. It is not gonna help. Those questions will always be asked, unfortunately. Even if I make the chat rules, they will still be asked. Okay, starting to roll off a VWAP here, but this could just be a 30-minute candle being repaired. Yeah, Solo, that's another one. I'm not even going to say that on stream. I don't even want to get into that. But yeah, this could be a 30-minute candle repair, so this sell pressure could just be kind of fake. We'll see if it holds. This is the only channel I've seen where it's not constant bragging. Yeah. Yeah, I try to keep that stuff to a minimum in our chat. I don't mind if you guys are like, hey man, I hit my goal, I'm gonna head out, have a good day. Like, that's perfectly fine. But I don't like people being like, oh, I just made $1,000. You guys suck at trading. I'm the best. They don't say the second part of that, but they imply the second part of that. There's a way to brag without bragging, right? While still being a little humble. Like, I don't mind you guys talking about your trades. You have to talk about it the entire time, though. Like, you have to talk about, like, oh, this might be a bulldog here. I'm gonna look to take a long, and then you're gonna be like, oh, it's hitting VWAP. I'm gonna close my trade, right? If you talk about the full trade and you're not just being a hindsight trader, then that's reasonable to a certain degree. But if you're just being a hindsight trader just to brag, you're just gonna get banned in chat. Yeah, Clive, have a good night, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Why are you here if you're the best? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, I always love people that come in here and they tell me I'm wrong and they talk about how good they are at trading and how much money they make. It's like, why are you watching my channel? Why are you here? I will never understand people who hate watch streams. There are so many other things you could be doing with your life. Now, I can understand watching like trash TV. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand with like hate watching streams, but being a hater in chat is kind of crazy. You can hate watch silently. But no, I think one of the best things about this channel, about this community, is I've built it extremely slowly. We've like handpicked the people that are in this community. I've done pretty much zero marketing. I've done like zero collaborations. It's literally just me doing my thing, people showing up and hanging out, telling their friends they like the channel, their friends show up, and then rinse and repeat. It's like the most organic way to grow a community, right? Very slow, but very very healthy. Okay, single prints created down to 12, down to 10 or 12. Now, recently, they've been doing an incredible job repairing these single prints damn near instantly. They've been repairing these like within 15 to 20 minutes, like before the 30-minute candle closes. So keep an eye on that. What session is that? C. Yeah, I need to keep making shorts. My friend that was doing my editing, he's been very busy recently, and I was also really busy with the bot and stuff. So we just took a break on him. But once I get this bot kind of where I want it to be, we'll probably go back to making shorts. You guys know me. My problem has always been as a streamer that I start working on something. I start like a video series or something, and then I start working on something else, and then I start working. It's like my ADD. I can't hyper focus on one thing for too long. I start working on other projects. And right now, that other project is the Athena bot. And I'm like absolutely hyper focused on it right now. I've already put in like over 100 hours on that thing. But yeah, once I get that to like a stable point, I'll probably a rollover top here on NASDAQ. Keep an eye on that. It's not a perfect rollover top. It's after an impulse down. We like to see these after a major impulse up. But it does have VWAP helping you, so that's a pretty damn good resistance there. So keep an eye on that rollover top. You don't have it on ES, unfortunately. But yeah, my problem as a streamer has always been like over-promising, under-delivering, because I just keep switching projects. Yeah, A and B, I understand it. Believe me, I've been doing this for what, 8 years now? I've been streaming damn near every day for 8 years, so I've heard every single comment about wanting to see my trades. I understand the thought process. I just don't care anymore. Is the short answer. Been doing this too long. Yeah, exactly, Joan. Yep. There's only so many hours in a day, right? Yeah, if only we were robots, exactly. Hey, maybe soon, maybe soon. The AI is getting better and better. It's going to be altered carbon soon. We're just going to upload ourselves. Fantastic show, by the way. At least the first season. I didn't like the second season too much. Very, very different market structures right now. ES continuing this strong uptrend. NASDAQ putting in a rollover top, failing VWAP. Hey, Unleash, have a good day, man. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know if I'd trust this uptrend too much on ES because, like I said, they've been doing such a good job filling in these single prints within that next 30-minute candle. I feel like those should be filled in before 11:30. But that's kind of letting the past dictate the future, right? We need to be more responsive, not predict too much. It's not really showing us right now that that is the case. There's not really any topping signal going on here. It's mostly being driven up by Dow Jones. Dow Jones is on fire. Yeah, exactly, Techie. Yeah, I don't want to get into the rant. You guys have been here for years. You've heard me rant about it 100 times, probably more than that. But yeah, just the easiest way is to explain it is it's never ending. You show somebody one thing, they want to see another. You show them another thing, they want to see another. You give them an inch, they want to take miles and miles and miles. And I've learned that over the years because I used to do it. If you guys watched my streams way back in the day when we started, that's how I used to do things. I used to have trade journals and show you guys everything, and I mean, you name it, we did it. Did competitions, we did live trading, everything. And it was just never ending. So I just don't care anymore. I don't do it anymore. Yeah, exactly, KK. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, I put out so much free content. It's there if you want to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, then press the X button. You know what I mean? It's that simple. It is that simple. Is this a bear div here? It looks like a bear div on the 1 minute. It is, yep. There's a small bear div here on the 1 minute. 3-minute bear div as well. 5-minute is pinching, but it's topped out. So there was a pinch after that bull div. So we had a bull div here, which is turning into a pinch. Well, it turned into a pinch. It's already over. And that pinch topped out. So you hit that maximum line. It doesn't mean it has to stop here. It just means that it's likely it needs to cool off. It's always a probabilities game, right? Giving you another sweep. This is the third major sweep today. We had a sweep at right at the open. Let me mark these out, actually. So yeah, it was literally on the opening candle. So that was the sweep there, sweeping the prior 30-minute candles. Then you had another sweep, which was this one. That was also the bull div. That was this one right here. And now we have this sweep right here, which is also a bear div. I don't reveal the exact thing, Damien, because I made the indicator. So it's a formula that I created. But it's basically just looking at when momentum and volume are shifting very heavily, when they're pivoting very heavily. That's why it's called a pivot. So when you're going from one direction to another, to the opposing direction with force. But yeah, it's not based on any major indicators. It's a formula that I hand created, so. No, it does not repaint. It paints on that exact candle. I believe I called it out as it was painting. You'd have to go back on the stream and take a look, but I believe I did. So it paints the candle as it's pivoting. So notice how that candle is going from a strong downtrend to bottoming and then bouncing. So it created a pivot. It's pivoting. It's shifting from one direction to the other. So once that candle closed, it locked that in. So realistically, the entire candle is kind of the pivot, but to make it cleaner on the chart, all that it does is mark, if it's a blue candle, it marks the low, or it marks the open. If it's an orange candle, it marks the open as well. Whatever the higher of the open and close. Or it might always be the open. I actually don't remember. No, I think it's the higher. I think it's the higher of the open or close. And then for the blue candle, it's the lower. Okay, the rollover top on NASDAQ played beautifully, if you guys took that rollover top. Already up about 20 points. It is bouncing against you a little bit. And now we have that sweep trying to fill in those single prints. You have 2 single prints left open, going down to 11. Dalton should pay me some kind of royalty. I am actually curious how many books I've sold. Just talking about his books on stream. It's probably not too many, but I'd say it's probably approaching 100 at least. Yeah, Trent. So shifting the concepts that I teach onto lower time frames, you pretty much are doing the same exact thing. You're just using lower time frames, right? So like on the footprint chart here, I'm looking at a 30-minute. You could do the same exact thing on like a 5-minute or a 1-minute, or you could even go down to like a delta chart or a volume chart, which we used to do on stream like years ago. We used to do the same exact footprint strategy using a volume chart. I have screenshots of that in the playbook channel in Discord. But yeah, you could just use like literally the same exact concepts just on lower time frames. The problem is like the volume profile stuff, the market profile stuff, they really want to be on the 30-minute. They're kind of designed to be on the 30-minute. What you can do with volume profile on lower time frames is what I talk about on this chart here. So like if I go to a 5-minute, I can still look at like the nodes and how the nodes are being respected and stuff like that, but I wouldn't take it as far as to look at the POCs and look at the value high and value low and the shapes and all that stuff. I would mostly just be looking at the nodes. The nodes, the tails, stuff like that. But I wouldn't be doing the minute analysis on the exact levels. You bought all his books per my recommendation? That's awesome. I'll email their company, be like, hey, where's my commission? I don't even know what a commission on a book would be. It'd be like a few dollars or something. No, it's just one of those things. The book has helped me a lot. I talk about it a lot on streams, so people want to check it out. It's not like I popularized Dalton. He's been extremely popular in the trading space for a long time. This bounce back on NASDAQ is getting very dangerous for your trail. Unfortunately, you didn't have anywhere to pull your stop, so your stop is probably where it was originally, or it's break even. If it's break even, you might have got stopped out. It did give you about 30 points of profit before bouncing, so your trail is probably getting hit. Markets and profile, yeah, markets and profile is really good. It's just it's the older one, I believe, right? I think markets and profile you should read second. You should read mind over markets probably first, because markets and profile is a little bit more complicated, I would say. Turning into a vertical distribution here, still aiming at that C session single print. Keeps looking like it wants to come down and fill that in. Not exactly a rollover top here, but definitely starting to roll over in momentum. Yeah, look at the momentum here, completely rolling over. So look at the high here, look at the momentum, just completely nuking. Yeah, I know, Steve. He doesn't use everything that's in those old books. But to be honest, I think most of the concepts are still good. I wouldn't just like throw away a lot of that information. I think a lot of it's still pretty handy. He doesn't use like TPO counts and like all the like very specific stuff like the 80% rule and stuff like that. But as far as like the shapes go and all that, I'm pretty sure he still uses all that. The different bias, like who's in control and why certain movements are happening. Vertical distribution is still holding. Yeah, initial balance I don't think he uses, which I don't really use too much. What we have been seeing recently is what I was talking about earlier this week are the initial balance extensions. We kind of have one right here. So it's hard to see on stream, but there's a little blue line here. That's the initial balance. So typically when people look for breakouts of the initial balance, they're looking for either 100% or 200%. So you take the size of the initial balance and just multiply it, right? So our initial balance right now is almost exactly 10 points or so, a little bit over 10 points. So was this breakout about 10 to 15 points? It was. So that is about 100% extension, which we keep seeing. We keep seeing about 100%. So that is something that if you guys watch initial balance, I would keep an eye on that right now. It's something that is definitely coming back into play. 100% or 200% extensions. If you're on Trade-Evate, it actually does it for you. There is a built-in extension in the settings. Yeah, 50%. Yeah, you can use like any of those like whole numbers. They work really well. 50, 100, 150, 200. They're not like exact targets. They just give you like a general idea of what to look for. It's almost like a volatility target. Based on the volatility of the initial balance, what should I target? Addis has an indicator for it, do they? I don't think it's built into the market profile, I don't believe. It might be a separate indicator. Yeah, I don't think it's built in. Yeah, I don't see it. It might be on the newer version. I have an older version. Unless it has a weird name. What's the name? It was there? Am I blind? Yeah, I see the initial balance. Oh, okay, so it's in the initial balance indicator. Okay, my bad. So it's not an extension indicator, it's just on the initial balance indicator. Okay, I got you. So what does this look like? Let's see. So I wouldn't need like any of this stuff. I don't care about the low, the high, the mid. Okay, so here are the extensions. By the way, we're just in a vertical distribution here, so be careful. Rollover top trade is over. Break-even stop has been triggered. So you can't customize the text on it. It just says whatever it says. Unless you can do it up here. Let's see. Turning into a pretty strong trend here. Keep an eye on that rotation on NASDAQ. Let me see. Where's that going? Rotation on NASDAQ going up to 0.25 and 0.47. Still not finishing those single prints, which is highly unusual. They have been filling those in pretty much every single day. I would bet that they're going to be filled in before the close. What are these? Oh, the lower extensions. Okay. Oops. All right, sorry. Unfortunately, Addis is kind of tedious when you're adding indicators like this. All right, so we have 1, 2 on top and bottom. Open range, we don't need that. Turn that off. Text, we don't really need. All right, what does that look like? That's not correct. I think it's going off of yesterday. Okay, that seems right. So that would be the 100% extension around 23, 200% is 36, and then downside would be 84 and then 71. All right, sorry, that took me a lot longer than I thought it would. All right, let's pay attention here. There's a little bit of a sweep coming in. Sweep at 22. Not really anything to go with the sweep. No pivots, no 5, no 15, no 30, no 1 minute, no 3 minute. Yeah, it's basically just a vertical distribution. There's nothing to go with this. We had a D single print there that got filled in. Still have our C singles going down to 11. C yesterday. Let's double check this indicator. So what is it? 94. 94 to 16. Yeah, that's about right. So it should be a drop of about 22 points, which it nearly got. Just barely missed it. All right, cool. We'll keep an eye on that for the next few days because I've been saying that recently it has been using those levels. Why is it not showing their values now? I don't know why it does that. Their values are showing, then it disappears. That's not a big deal. Mess with it later. Hey, James, appreciate you joining the membership on YouTube. Thank you for supporting the channel. Very obvious vertical distribution. You could tell it started to be a vertical distribution around here because this was a very clear topping trade. It was a sweep, bear div. You had a lot of reason to go down here. Single prints as well. And then you just stalled. You stalled around 15, put in a higher low off the 24, and now we're just chopping with the 24. So we're ignoring short signals, and it's holding on to the 24 EMA. Yeah, it's pretty common. A lot of people like to use like initial balance high, low extensions as like targets, stops. I'm not a really big initial balance person, but I know a lot of you guys watch it, so I talk about it every now and then. Like I said, I have been watching the extensions more recently because you're seeing those very clearly. That's a pattern that keeps popping up. So these two pullbacks here, you don't see it on this chart, but look at this chart. You can see the 24 EMA there. It perfectly bottoms it. So when you have a pattern like this, it's almost always a vertical distribution, and almost always that 24 EMA will be protecting those lows. That's why I use the 24 EMA, because it lines up damn near to the tick every single time on those lows. You'll clearly see that vertical distribution, especially on the delta. Delta coming down pretty heavily, even though price is rising. Yeah, James, I hate that on Addis. When you do all the work building the indicator and you forget to press the add button, it should just automatically add it if you are messing with the settings. You can trade vertical distributions. You just need to be very careful. Typically, pullback trades are better. Pullback buying off the 24. You can short. You just need to be very, very careful shorting because it ignores short signals. Until it doesn't. It's a stairs up, elevator down type of pattern where it's going to ignore the first like 5-10 signals and then one signal just nukes the entire thing. It's a very hard pattern to trade. It's a great pattern if you're trailing. So like if you were somehow still holding that like bull div trade or whatever trade you took down here, like a VWAP trade or whatever, it's a fantastic pattern to see if you're trailing. It's like your favorite pattern to see because you can just keep trailing the 24 and it just keeps giving you more profit. But if you're not already in a trade, you hate to see it. But all right, guys, on that note, we are going to call it. I appreciate you guys being here for our stream. I will be streaming in Discord for the rest of the day. One thing to keep an eye on is that vertical distribution. Keep an eye on that 24 EMA slowly pushing you up. As long as that's protected, it's going to continue to ignore short signals, and it's going to keep pushing up. Just watch the nodes. You're building a node, you're protecting a node. You're building a node, you're protecting a node. It's going to keep doing that over and over again. The rotation on NASDAQ is nearly complete, looking for 22. Next level above that is 47. ES, nearly completing our trade plan to the upside, at least the first target. You're about halfway complete on that incomplete auction. So we want to fill in this entire zone on Thursday. Right, it's Thursday's value area. Now, one level to keep an eye on, we're hitting it right now. This is the POC. So if any level is going to stop you from filling in this zone, it's going to be right here, because that's where the POC is of that node that we're trying to fill in. So think about rotating that node. We need to get through the POC and then finish filling it in. So if it stalls here, it's because you're failing that POC. If it doesn't stall here, look for 33 to 40, and that will finish filling in all the zones up here. All right, guys, on that note, I will see you guys in Discord. If you're not in Discord, I will see you guys tomorrow. You have, what's today, Thursday? You have today and tomorrow to send me your receipts for June. So if you guys used our code for Apex in June, be sure to send those to my email if you want to get entered in that raffle. I will be pulling that raffle this weekend. Do not send me July. Hold on to those. But if you used our code in June, send those to me. Here's my email. Another thing is, if you guys are new to my channel, if you're new to the Apex code, if you haven't received access to the Momo, the OTS, or the bots for our trial period with our Apex code, just be sure to send me a receipt and say, hey, can I get access to the indicators, right? So just let me know you used my code, send me the receipt, let me know you want access, and then I will get to it. Be sure to put in the subject line whether you're emailing me about access for the indicators or the raffle. Because if it's about the raffle, I'm going to miss the fact that you need indicator access, right? And if you emailed me about an Addis trial or indicator access and I haven't responded to you, resend me that email. I was having a problem with my emails recently. I was getting spammed like crazy. So if I missed it, just resend it. But all right, guys, I appreciate you being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.